Welcome to the MLS show. Me, Ped, Robbie and Chris all still here. Ped, let me start with you. This is just a general chat about the games over the weekend. Sport and KC, team you follow. Going into the weekend, 100% record.
Yes.
Real Salt Lake at home. Great chance to extend it.
The day the music died, wasn't it? It really was. With Skycam as well.
Skycam.
They brought in Skycam. What they did is, lads, is Sport and Kansas have like the best stadium in the world. Basically, you can get Wi-Fi and everything. It's boss. And basically,
you can get that in Goodison, can't you?
No,
or is that just a signal?
It's just my signal. It's just my boss signal. And they brought in this thing called Skycam. No, the cameras that like you've seen them in all sports. They sit in the middle and they're on like They brought that in, but it created this mad thing where like people are asking, what happens if the ball hits it? So Sport and Kansas had to like do a list. Well, if it hits it here and it came from this player, then it will be a drop ball. And it was
I think it was a bit lower than you've seen it in the World Cup.
Yeah,
but they're quite tight. It was a little bit lower. It was probably. I'd have had no problem.
It had like fellas at the side with pulleys all running around. They're quick, just making it go higher and lower. So that was the first thing. But they got beat 2-1 by Real Salt Lake City. Disappointing at home. It's that white kit. It was a lucky white kit last year. When you've got a lucky white kit for a year, you put it to bed. You start again. They wore it and they got beat 2-1, and now, unfortunately, the 100% record's gone. But
I mean, Salt Lake, Platter's been brilliant, and he set the first goal up. He was brilliant again at the weekend, and they've started really well, Real Salt Lake. But Sport and Kansas City had Benny Feilhaber back, and he pulled a few of the strings. Good to see him back.
Of course, man. He's
been out for a
top
while.
player. Should be Jürgen. You need to get him in the team because you're not doing much without him, are you? Just about keeping your job, you and Roberto.
Obviously, he scored the penalty late on.
He did,
and then
but the game had gone. That second goal for Real Salt Lake, I mean, it's a mess about in the box. Comes out and steered lovely into the corner, but
should the keeper have got it?
It was so quick, wasn't it? It was so. But this is MLS. This happens. No one's ever going to go to season, with a clean record. This is why we love it, because teams like Real Salt Lake have bounced back after a disappointing season. We've seen teams like the Rapids having a good season so far. They're all dying for Tim Howard to sign.
Can't wait for
I don't know
Howard.
why.
Howard and Jermaine Jones.
But they're all lots of teams have started really well. Orlando in the East have started really well. So
yes, they have.
So it's just why we love MLS, apart from the officiating.
Robbie, let's come to your side. They were absolutely brilliant. You've gone after them big time in the off season, and they've had a little bit of a nightmare. But
yeah. I mean, they're letting me down. But to be fair, we got ripped off at the weekend. I mean, you know what? I'm not even going to. Their goal, first of all, one of our players is down. Now, I don't know. I'm still a bit torn on it, because I must admit I've seen that happen a lot in the Premier League, and I always think to myself, you should play on.
Yeah.
And I think it's the referee's responsibility to blow up. And I suppose unless it's a head injury, he may not blow up. So you got to play to the whistle. I think the players switched off a bit and they got their goal. I still think the defending could have been a bit better from us as well, to have stopped the goal, because there were still two players going in on the line.
Yeah.
But the one that really wound me up was the sending off. I mean, that's a tackle. I mean, it's and the speed in which the referee just came over and just went. I mean, that was absolutely ridiculous. That was, for me, who it's sort of my real first season trying to really get into MLS. When I saw that, I was like, come on.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. That puts people off. And we are here. We're trying to do shows. We're trying to get people like yourselves into the sport, into the league. And when you see stuff like that, it does put fans off. It does go, because like you just said in one sentence there, players switching off, bad defending and bad refereeing. Yeah, that's kind of MLS.
You've got it already.
The first two you're willing to forgive because it helps create.
But it's entertaining. Listen, the
football.
MLS is entertaining, and and still, I think Bradley Wright Phillips had a chance there that if he'd have been a bit more composed, he could have scored. But it was that refereeing decision. It was horrendous, and it sort of smacked of like Does he know what he's doing? Does he? What was that all about?
But again, if that's coming from the top, he's reacted.
We've done a vid on that.
Done a vid on that.
But you say that's coming from the top, but surely, I mean, that wasn't. What was wrong with that tackle?
It's because he's caught.
It's a 50-50. He's gone for the ball.
What was berserk was the inconsistency in the same game. Vince Grella gets booked for a bit of nonsense on the ball. A lad won't retreat 10 yards. Gets booked for it and then goes up and does, so he's on a yellow and does someone with the elbow and the referee just gives a free kick and you're thinking that's actually a red card because you've booked him, that he wasn't a booking but you've booked him and then he's done him with the elbow. Chris, just on the laying down, it was Lawrence I think the defender who's laying down in the box when Reb scored. Is that snide or not snide?
No, I'm with Robbie on this one, to be honest with you, mate. I think if it was me playing the game, and that's what I always put myself into it, I'd want to win, and I would just play to the whistle there. And I think I want to see Liverpool do that in the Premier League. I want to see New York City FC do that in MLS. I want to see everyone that I follow play to the whistle. Because,
got to play to the whistle.
Yeah, I hate this. Like, we'll give you the ball back, and they give you the ball back 90 yards away from where you had it, and it's like you've penalised me for being nice.
And the other thing is, Chris, on that is people will go, well, it's not sporting. That's not. Unfortunately, the players have got rid of the sporting side because we see that much diving, that much rolling around, and that much play.
Lots of time players go down and, as soon as they blow up and stop playing, they jump up and,
Or when the game gets played on, you see them like meerkats looking round like, why haven't you blown up? And then they get up and then they do that.
Although in this case, the player wasn't.
But then you see the player get up and they go, ooh, 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 and then run away.
But the other thing on it, right, is he played that. I don't think I've ever seen it like this, where a player who's injured has played someone onside. Yeah. Why aren't the defenders sacking that fella? Yeah. Why are they not thinking the referee's not blown up here? I've got to sack my man. Again, it's that simple. I've just got to sack my man.
That discipline isn't quite there. I mean, Lexi Laylas said what you just alluded to there is the fact that players have caused this situation by diving and rolling around. You don't know whether they're injured or they're not. Is he trying? I mean, in Lawrence's case, he had to go off, so obviously he was injured. Team I follow, Orlando City, they beat last year's the current MLS Cup holders 4-1, and Kaka was just incredible.
First game back, wasn't it?
First game back, captain. Obviously, they lost Kyle Larin, who was a big player for them early on. Didn't obviously lose him, but he did lose him. And then Kaka had to go up front and was just brilliant. And it was 2 assists, scored the 3rd goal.
And let
Kevin Molino,
have the penalty.
Desperate to score.
First goal for Orlando.
In MLS. Big scorer in USL, but hadn't scored an MLS goal. But massive win. Portland missing Ridgie. Ridgie, get back quick.
We're only 3 points behind, though, mate. We can catch it if we can stop conceding goals and stuff. I'm happy that the Red Bulls lost, to be honest, because I've got this rivalry now as the 2 New York clubs that I hate them.
I still can't work out why you supporting New York City. Why? You're not, it's the Man City's fringe club, by the way. You do know that.
Yeah, maybe I just like a team with loads of money, mate. Actually have a chance of winning.
I should have done that. I should have been like, you know what, my club in the Premier League never wants to spend the money. Go to a club that is actually going to spend the dollars. But
Galaxy.
Yeah. And then even then there's still a salary cap on it anyway, so I still got to get there.
Talking of Galaxy, they didn't win. Still without Steven Gerrard. Also lost Robbie Keane now.
0-0.
And 10 men.
10 men as well. And they were all at the basketball, weren't they?
Seeing the picture.
There was Gerrard. There was Beckham at one end.
Robbie Keane.
There was Robbie Keane, who was being, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but and a fan. Because there was this picture a couple of years ago of David Beckham, and it was in like the LA Times. Somebody just went, David Beckham with a fan, and it was Robbie Keane.
I like that.
So a few people on Twitter have put Steven Gerrard, Beckham's kids, Beckham, and a fan.
But I mean, the game, for Galaxy, I thought Nigel de Jong was excellent. Ashley Cole was really good, to be fair, but they'll be frustrated. They had something like 70 minutes and couldn't break down Vancouver. It is a difficult place to win, but
it's still early days, isn't it?
Yeah,
Galaxy will find what they need going into the end of the season. But for them, I think what they'll be looking at is if they can keep those clean sheets, at some point, the Keanes and they're going to start clicking, they'll start scoring goals. I mean,
I've got a question for you on them. Who's their 3 designated players? Who's not a designated player for them?
Nigel de Jong, Ashley Cole, neither of them.
Yeah, none of them are.
Gerrard is a one. Robbie Keane is one, and
Giovanni
De Santos.
So what does that put the pay levels of Cole and de Jong?
It does. They are on their pay levels are quite small because they're all still getting paid by their former clubs. LA have done absolute worldly deals with those players.
Is anyone else doing that in MLS, or have they sort of a bit of a?
They are quite creative.
Well, you can
LA,
have you can have a TAM
TAM
player, which is this extra lot of money that
targeted allocation.
What it did was, I'm trying to explain this like 101. There was players that were like DPs, but they weren't on that much. So what they've done is they give this TAM money, and that makes these players. It's like a fourth designated player, but they're only on like $1 million or something. Basically, it's mad.
Do you think that's going to be the way that all the clubs go then? Or have they all started to do that already?
When I asked Phil Rawlins when we had them on the show the other week, he was saying he thinks it'll get increased. The DPs will go up. That's because they basically...
Everyone needs to go up, though.
It's got to go up right away across the board. They don't want to lose what's great about it. Don't want it to be like the Premier League, where it's just... you've seen what happens when you give players loads of money. Cue Aston Villa. That's what Premier League footballers are. So you want to create that, that balance still there to make sure that it is kind of fair and random, because that's what's great about it. But you never. I mean, the De Jong thing, he's allegedly gonna take over Steven Gerrard DP status if Gerrard retires in.
I thought Gerrard had already
I was going to say many people will tell me he's already retired at the moment, but
It's been a bit of a disaster, hasn't it?
he's not at the greatest. He's not at the greatest. I think the problem with him is I just don't think they know where to play him. And I think when he plays, Ped was saying the other week, he's up against young, hungry players, and they just haven't clicked. He was saying maybe playing centre half. I think he's probably better.
Centre half?
No, but I think he reads the game. But I think I would play him. I'd play him off Robbie Keane, to be honest, and just stay up there because he's still got a great shot on him. He's still brilliant with a dead ball. But he's injured at the moment, as quite a lot of Galaxy players are. Just before we go, did you see Kevin Doyle's shin last week, by the way?
Yes. After the Ireland game.
That email.
He had a hole.
It's all over Twitter.
He had a hole in his leg, basically. And
Republic of Ireland, the gash.
From Ireland.
See his bone and everything. And the gash is like, the hole in his leg, Liam, the hole in his leg is like that. But apparently he's only out for 4 weeks.
Well, he's had plastic surgery to fill the gash. Which it sounds like something that happens in LA rather than Colorado, but that's a different story.
Just before we wrap up...
anything you want to say to soccer mums watching?
No,
I think I've just said it.
A team I've been really impressed with as well, FC Dallas. They played Columbus Crew at the weekend. I think I'll stop the turn away for sure. And
because it's like Tom.
Columbus Crew they were brilliant last year, but they haven't really got going this season. But they drew 1 each the other night with Dallas, but much better from Crew the other night. Kai Kamara was looking back to his...
Teams are starting to settle down now, aren't they? New players are starting to settle down, and as I say, I think it's going to even itself out. We're seeing no one's got a 100% record now, so I think we're going to see a lot more competitive games. New York will still be rubbish, but Rebels, I mean. But
what's mad is there was 9 games this week, and I was saying, why aren't New York City playing? People were saying to me, oh, it's because the baseball season starts, so they can't play. I was like, couldn't you just schedule them away? They're like, no, but it messes with the schedule. I'm like, but they just play an away game, surely. So
you'd think, wouldn't you?
I don't know what's going on.
From a New York City perspective, I want to see Poku on the field, man. He looked amazing the other day against the Revolution. That's the first time I've seen him. And I was asking you about him before, wasn't I? Like, what type of a player he is. Looks like a Yannick Bolasie, like mad skills when he's got it, but then sometimes you could just imagine him stinking the place.
Yeah, no discipline, no idea what he's going to do next, but that sounds like MLS all over, to be fair.
He's really good with the ball. He's a strong runner, can get up and down. But
there's a few players I've seen over the last few weeks where I've thought they'd do well in the Premier League, and the MLS will do well to keep those players, because I think other clubs around Europe and stuff will start looking at these players now and think
Chelsea took one.
Well, I was going to say before we got Matt Miazga made his debut.
Yeah, he played at the weekend
for Chelsea.
It wasn't really a Premier League game, though, was it?
Yeah, true.
Played in the Premier League at the weekend for Chelsea, and he's come in from Red Bulls in the January transfer window. So, more players like that, and like you say, Chris, they'll be getting picked up. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Should we have talked about anything else? What about the tackle? Is Robbie right? Was it a red card? We've done another video, but you can still comment here. Robbie is fuming. Is Poco boss? Let Chris know.
Poco's boss.
Do soccer mums love Ped? Let them know as well. And
I think the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think the answer to that is yes.
Does Ped love soccer mums or this type? Who knows?
There's an argument to say that's no, we'll leave that there.
Leave that there. Give us a follow on Twitter at the MLS Show. Like us on Facebook. Just get over and do it because I have asked you to. And we'll catch you next time on the MLS Show.